Good morning, children. Hope you all are doing good and staying safe at home. Welcome to a new session in English. In today's session, you are going to study Unit 2, Section A, The Brook by Alfred Lord Tennyson. The Brook is a beautiful poem written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Before going to the poem, let me introduce Alfred Lord Tennyson to you. As I told you, The Brook is a beautiful poem written by the British poet Alfred Lord Tennyson, who penned The Brook in 1886, just 6 years before his death. Alfred Lord Tennyson was born on 6th August 1809, Somersby, Lincolnshire, England, and died on 6th October 1892, Albert, Surrey. He is one of the most popular English poets, often regarded as the chief representative of the Victorian age in poetry. His poems have a musical quality because of his effective use of sound words. Some of his most famous poems are The Lotus Eaters, Ulysses, Break, 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 The Charge of the Light Brigade, The Lady of Shalott, In Memoriam, etc. In 1892, his play The Foresters was successfully produced in New York City. Despite ill health, he was able to correct the proofs of his last volume, The Death of Enoni, Akbar's Dream, and other poems. What can you see on this image? How is it? Is it beautiful? Yes, of course. It is a picture of nature, a beautiful nature, or the environment. It is a clear image of a brook. The poem Brook is a ballad in which the speaker, the brook or stream itself, undertakes a long and winding journey across the countryside to join up with a large river. Tucked inside this seemingly sweet poem about a little stream are darker, more poignant themes of death, human impermanence, and nature's indifference to humankind. Though the poem also emphasizes nature's sheer beauty. The poem's most notable characteristic is its refrain: For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever, which appears 4 times throughout the poem and captures both the fleetingness of human life and the constancy of nature. Here you can see the textual image of the poem, The Brook. I request all of you to read it well. I will read the stanzas for you. I come from haunts of coot and hern. I make a sudden sally, and sparkle out among the fern to bicker down a valley. By 30 hills I hurry down, or slip between the ridges. By 20 tops a little town, and half 100 bridges. Till last by Philip's farm I flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. I chatter over sunny ways in little shops and troubles. I bubble into eddying bays. I babble on the pebbles. With many a curve my banks I fret, by many a field and fallow, and many a fairy foreland set, with willow, weed, and mallow. I chatter, chatter as I flow, to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Now let's study each stanza in detail. Stanza 1. I come from haunts of coot and hern. I make a sudden sally, and sparkle out among the fern to bicker down a valley. Here, the brook starts from those places which are often visited by the coot and hern. It's often called as heron. Some water birds, you know. The brook emerges suddenly in this hilly area. It moves through the ferns and sparkles when the sunshine reflects the crystal clear water. And when the brook moves, creates a lot of noise. The brook is not moving silently. When it moves through these areas or these places, it creates a lot of noise. Here are some new words. Horns. What do you mean by horns? It means dwelling places. Coots and hern, you know, these are some water birds. Sally means rush or leap. Bicker, to quarrel over little things. As you know, here the brook is quarreling over some little things. Let's move on to the second stanza of the poem. By 30 hills I hurry down, or slip between the ridges. By 20 tops a little town, and half a hundred bridges. This stanza is an account of the brooks flowing through different areas. The poet has created wonderful imageries when we read the brook flowing by 30 hills, slipping between ridges. You know, ridges mean some long, narrow hills. 20 villages, a little town, and 50 bridges. Or this stanza gives you the idea of which all places the brook is flowing through. Here, there is a new word for you, tops. What do you mean by tops? It means villages. I hope this stanza is clear to you. Here comes the third stanza of the poem. Till last by Philip's farm I flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. In this stanza, the poet tells us about the merging point of the brook. The brook joins an overflowing river. Here, Philip's farm is symbolized as a landmark of the ending of the journey of the brook. Last two lines are the refrain, bearing the main theme of the poem. The brook is ever flowing or eternal, without ceasing or stopping, whereas we, the human, are ephemeral. We shall not live forever. We are subject to decay, decline, and death, whereas the brook lasts forever. It never dies, it never stops, it is always traveling, it is always moving. There is a new word for you, brimming. What do you mean by brimming? It means overflowing. Let's move on to the fourth stanza of the poem. I chatter over stony ways in little sharps and trebles. I bubble into eddying bays. I babble on the pebbles. The brook goes on the stony path, creating chattering sounds. It makes sharp, high-pitched sounds when the brook clashes on the side banks of the lands. It makes bubbles when it falls from height in the spiral movements. When it moves on the pebbles, it creates soft, pleasing sounds. As you know, the brook is not moving silently. On the way, it makes a lot of noise. It is chattering, stalking over stony ways. This stanza gives you the clear picture of the brook's movement over stony ways. Here you have some new words. Sharps. What do you mean by sharps? Yes, it's a sudden and shrill voices. Trebles, high pitched voices. What do you mean by eddying? Whirling. Bass, inlets, or curves. I hope this stanza is very clear to you all. Now let's discuss the fifth stanza of the poem in detail. With many a cow my banks I fret, by many a field and fallow, and many a fairy foreland set, with willow, wheat, and mallow. In this stanza, the brook moves on, taking many curves and creates rough and unpleasant sounds on the banks of the brook. The brook moves through many fields and uncultivated lands. The brook goes through the forelands. You know, forelands, that is the land just before the merging points. The poet describes the land to be fairyland, as with flowers and beautiful plants like willow and mallow. It looks so. Here you have some new words. Frets means a rod. Here in anchor, the brook is in an anchor way. It is raising, eroding. Fallow. Fallow means an uncultivated farmlands, forelands, an area of lands which lies in front of something. Willow, wheat, and mallow. It means some kinds of plants. Now let's study stanza 6 in detail. I chatter, chatter as I flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. The brook creates various sounds before merging with its destination. You know, the brook is having its own destination. It's flowing to reach or to join the brimming river. And when it is moving, it is not moving silently. It is chattering, it is talking, it makes a lots of noises. Here, the last two lines of this stanza are the examples of refrain. You know, it's a figure of speech using in poetry, and you will learn all the figures of speech used in this poetry in detail after completing the whole poem. So here the last two lines are an example for refrain, which highlights the eternal states of the brook and its activity and the ephemeral states of we the humans. We know the brook is immortal, it is lasting forever, it is eternal, whereas we, the poor humans, are not immortal, we are mortal, or we are either to death or decline. And here we may feel that the brook is boasting about the eternal states of its own. I hope the stanza is very clear to you all. Let's check the comprehension. In this slide, you have 6 questions to answer. I request all of you to answer these questions in your practice notebook. First question. Who is the I in the brook and what does he do throughout the poem? I hope you all will be knowing the answer very clearly. Second, where does the brook in the poem originate from? Third question, how does the brook behave when it encounters curves along its banks? Question number 4, why does the brook go on forever? And the fifth question, how many villages does the brook cross while flowing? And the last question, what do you think is the effect of the poet's use of personification in this poem, The Brook? I hope all these questions are very clear to you all. With this, we have come to the end of today's session. And in today's session, we have completed only the first part of the poem, The Brook. And we will continue the second part in the next session. Hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you, my dear children. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead.